I asked my audience to send me their best business ideas for Oman, and today I'm going to rank 20 of them. We're using a tier list from S being the absolute elite all the way down to F, actually don't do it. I'm also going to reveal 3 business ideas I haven't seen anyone mention and that don't exist here yet, but I genuinely believe it would crush in Oman. Let's get into it. So the first one we have on our list is coffee and tea shop. Now, if you're trying to open a coffee or tea shop in Oman, you're going to be coming up against 2 types of people. The first one is going to be an absolute baller Arab that's got tons of money to splurge on the best decor, the best furniture, the best aesthetics, the best signboard in the best location. So if you're trying to go band for band with him, it's going to be very difficult. So these are like the big fish, the big players. These are the type of spots people go to when they're socializing over the weekends, out with their family. They're very bougie, high-end cafes. Now the second player you're going to come up against is the oversaturated on every single block, on every single corner, maybe 5 back-to-back tea, coffee shop, hairdresser, tea, coffee shop. So it's more of a volume game, but it is so saturated. Coffee and tea shops in these Arab countries, period, are massively saturated. So for me, that's going to go into E. Now, this is just my opinion. Maybe you have an amazing coffee or tea shop and you are 1 in 1,000 and make it very successful. But for the general masses, this is a very saturated market. I personally wouldn't even dabble in it. By the way, if you're seriously thinking about moving to Oman, I'm building something very special for you. It's not ready just yet, but if you want to be the first to access it when it does drop, there's a link in the description below. Join the waitlist. Trust me, this is not something you want to miss. Let's get back into the video. Next on our list, we have car sales. Now, car sales is a bit tricky because there's a few different ways of doing this. If you're talking about just buying and reselling cars, I think that's very mediocre and very average. That's probably going to go into like D or E. But if we was to get this a bit higher, I think there's ways you can utilize this. There's a massive market of American cars that come into Oman that are crashed. And the cost to repair these cars in Oman or in these Gulf countries in the local garages is so cheap. So if you're taking crashed cars that are imported from America and fixing them up in these local areas and then sending them off back to America or selling them in-house into Oman, or even take it further and send them back to the UK where muscle cars are extremely hard to come by. So Dodge Chargers, Mustang GTs, you got Chevrolets, Corvettes, all those sort of stuffs are hard to get in the UK. That's probably the game that I would play. So if that was the game I would be playing, that would probably go into C tier. But if you're just buying to flip the cars, it's going to go into E tier. Now, next on our list, we have barbers, barbering, cutting hair, stuff that I don't have, only here. But barbering, for me, I'm not going to ramble on too much about this. The barber market in general is so saturated. There's a hairdresser and a barber on every single corner. And all the Turkish people are cutting hairs and they're very good at it. Not that I would know, but I do get my beard done. But for me, very oversaturated. That will probably go into F tier for me. Now, next on our list, we have dessert shops. Desserts do stupidly well in the Gulf. It doesn't have to be an amazing business concept, but desserts, who doesn't like a dessert? You go out with your family, grab a dessert, chill out by the beach, in the park, have your dessert. It's a very qualified business model. So desserts for me, especially with this day and age, with social media where things go viral, if you can market this properly and one of those goes viral, or you get a bunch of Omani influencers that come in and check out your dessert spot and you have something interesting, this can do stupidly well. I've seen it do very well. There was, I can't remember the shop. It's called Lebanon or something. It came from Egypt. They had opened a couple of locations in Saudi and 1 or 2 in Oman. And a couple of their videos went viral and they are sitting on millions. Although I do believe they got closed down now for health and safety breaches, but that's another story. For me, dessert, it's going to go into A tier for me. So next on our list, we have local store, which I assume is drinks, ice cream, just small stuff that you can pick up at a local convenience store. And that's another one that is super saturated. I don't see this being highly scalable. I don't see this being massively profitable. It's definitely not something I would invest or front capital opening. So for me, this is going probably to the lower half, E, F. Now let's be generous and put it at E. Next on our list, we have garages. Now, to keep this short and sweet, you as an expat, me as an expat, cannot own a garage and be 100% owner of that business. We're going to have to partner up with a local for this business to be opened. So off the bat, It's going straight into F tier. I'm not sharing nothing with no one I don't know. Now, there are ways you can worm your way through this and there's loopholes, but for the general market, let's not talk about it. You can't open a garage and be 100% owner as an expat. F tier. Next on our list, we have mobile repairs. Now, let's keep this short and sweet as well. And I want you to understand the person you're going up against, your competition in mobile repairs business market. You're going up against Indians, Pakistanis, and Bangladeshis. They are happy to undercut you by, even if that means going bankrupt and they don't realize it, they will undercut you. Super saturated. All the South Asians are doing this business model. I will stay completely away from it. F tier for me too. Damn, we've got a lot of businesses in the F tier. Let's see if we can change that. Next up, we have tour agency. Now this one's actually quite interesting. There is a lot of tour agencies in Oman, but if I'm being completely honest with you, I want you to take this away and keep this top of mind. The Omanis, no disrespect, have horrible marketing skills. So if you dive into any field in general and have decent marketing skills, you'll pull a lot of the clients just because they don't know how to market. So if we're talking about tour agency, I think this can do pretty well if you can market it well, because it's hard to come across like good websites, finding out the right information. It's a bit outdated. So if you can inject some modernness and put this in people's faces, I think this will do pretty good. Not amazing, but pretty good. I'm gonna put this in C tier. Next on our list, we have car wash. Now, I'm a big fan of car washes. I know they do very well in Europe. However, in Oman, there's so many car washes. And not only that, they make it easy for you to wash your car. So if you're going to the mall and you're parking your car, there'll be a guy with his whole kit washing your car. So it doesn't even require me to have to literally go to a location to wash my car and all that friction. I can literally go to the mall and get my car washed while I'm walking around. So they make it very easy. So if it's very easily accessible and they're snagging customers up wherever they possibly can, it's a hard market to get into. Don't get me wrong, it's still a great market. I just think it's a bit played out. But again, everyone needs their car washed. So for me, I'm gonna put this in D tier. Now next on our list, we have martial arts. I did MMA, I watch MMA, I'm very passionate about MMA. And fun fact, when I first moved to Muscat, this was gonna be my business. I was gonna open an MMA gym in Muscat. So that probably tells you where I'm gonna rank this. But the only reason I didn't open an MMA gym, wallahi, is because my social media stuff and this online stuff started taking off. And if I had opened an MMA gym, there would be no social media Mustafa. I'm a 100% all-in type of guy. I don't like to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, half my attention here, half my attention there. So in hindsight, I chose you guys over my dream MMA gym in Muscat, which I planned for a long time. SubhanAllah. It's funny how life works. But for me personally, man, this is going straight into A tier. Another thing I love about this business model is that it's subscription based, which means monthly reoccurring income, which is massive. So next on our list, we have Airbnbs. Now Airbnbs is interesting because there's a few ways you can play this. So for example, you can own an apartment outright and then Airbnb that, or you can try and sublease something and Airbnb that. But the only issue with trying to sublease something and then Airbnb it, it's not technically allowed in Oman. So to get up and running, there's a lot of hurdles that you have to jump over. There's a lot of legal stuff that you have to know about. So it's not really easy to enter that market. It's a decent market, don't get me wrong, and it's only increasing with how much traction Oman is getting nowadays. But it's just quite difficult to navigate your way through subleasing and then Airbnbing it. But the overheads are pretty low as well because the cost of maintaining it, cleaners and stuff like that, is pretty cheap in Oman. It's a decent model. I think it's just a bit complicated to get into. So for me, it's going to go into D tier. Next on our list, restaurants. Universal thing. We need food to survive. Everyone eats. It has the highest failure rate in the world out of any business models. Restaurants. Oman has plenty of restaurants. So if you're just talking about opening an Asian joint or an Arab joint, I'm going to put that straight into E tier. But how we can raise this to S tier or A tier is by niching down. There's a lack of restaurants that have, say, an Italian cuisine. I've not seen one Caribbean cuisine in Oman. I've not seen one real Japanese cuisine in Oman that does stuff like sushi. I've not seen one Spanish joint that does tacos, burritos and stuff like that. So if you can niche down, this can really take off because you will be the first one in Muscat, let's say, to have this restaurant. So not only do you have the interest and the intrigue of the local market, if they like it and it hits, you're gone clear. So for me personally, if you niche down and bring in different cultured food, which is very easy to do because right now it's just dominated by Arabic food, Asian food, and Turkish food. A few other restaurants here and there, Thai, one or two. But if you can niche down, this is going into S tier for me. Next on our list, AI. One that's taking over the world and replacing us measly humans. AI is very powerful. Not only is it taking over the West, it's taking over the world. Now there's many ways you can utilize AI. I can't get into all of them because there's millions of ways, but let's just put it this way. If you can automate something for someone and solve their problem using AI, easy sell. You just have to pitch it right because they're not really familiar with AI and this technology and stuff like. It sounds so bad. It sounds so bad for me saying that like they're some cavemen. They are aware. They just don't think they need it. So if you can pitch it like they need it, which they should, and they'll blow the rest of the competition with this little AI model that you have, easy stuff. And with the way that the world is shaping, AI is always going to be S tier for me. Anything got to do with tech, the online space is going to be S tier compared to like physical locations. I think they're dying more and more each year and it's just getting harder and harder. Whereas the digital space is just constantly innovating, changing, and rapidly growing. So for me personally, S tier. Vending machine. This is actually interesting. I'm trying to think of the last time I saw a vending machine. A vending machine. To be honest, I haven't seen much of them. I don't know if there's an actual reason behind that. So that's an interesting one. If there's no logistics and no legal requirements that you can't do this because you're an expat, this is a solid shout for passive income. This is going into B tier. So next on our list, we have kids football. I'm not too sure what they meant by kids football when they sent this in. So let's just generalize this and say sports for kids. Now, if we generalize it like that, I'm not very confident in this business model at all. I don't think it's highly profitable. I don't think it's highly scalable. So as a business model, let's not talk about it too much and tiptoe around it. I'm going to put this into F tier. Yeah, it's fun. If you're passionate about it, great. But as a profitable business model, not really a biggest fan of it. Personal trainer. Now, I say this with a big grin on my face as well because all that comes into mind when I think about personal trainers in Oman is these big African black guys, massive, a bunch of them in these gyms, just walking around, not fitting through doors. These are the type of people you're competing against. So if you're just trying to go competition, gym to gym, this is going to be an F tier. But if you slightly angle this different and target wealthier individuals, so like business owners in Oman, diplomats, certified officials, if you target them and do personal training where you go out to their house or something like that and charge high ticket, I think this is very good. But if you're just trying to be a personal trainer in a gym, actually you got no competition against these buff Africans. So if you're going against them, straight into F tier. If you're trying to niche down and target the wealthier individuals and play that card, I think this could be a good model as well. I think this could be B tier. Next on our list, we have website developments. Now this one is interesting because it has a high potential ceiling, but it's going to be very difficult to implement because they still think they don't need these amazing websites. They're good with what they got, they get clients, they get money, they make a profit, whatever, they're good. So it's going to be hard for you to go up there and say, well, I will make you a brand new website, it's going to look amazing, but I charge you a couple grand to do it. They're going to think, brother, I don't need it. So it's about having to break that mindset belief because right now, they're not really up to date with websites. They barely have websites. And if they do, it's just slapped up there. They pay no attention. If you can implement funnels, AI to manage everything and have everything on autopilot, and it seems weird to put something so basic like website development as S tier, but it kind of shows you how dated their online presence is. They're not really mastering or getting a good grip on the tech side of things, on the online space of things. So for me personally, A tier, S tier, let's put in A tier. Let's be sensible. Next on our list, we have trade services, electricians, plumbers, construction works, etc. Now, if you're going into this thinking about providing the services yourself, you're going to have a hard time competing with people, these South Asians, Pakistanis, Indians, Bangladeshis, on the prices they're doing it for. It's going to be very hard for you to first of all, sustain this. Second of all, to even scale this. So the only way I would approach this model is to be the business owner and to employ these people underneath me and then try and scale that business. But even then, it's a very saturated business. It's very cheap. Construction work, labor work, trade services, super cheap. So if you're going for that avenue, it's going straight to F tier. And in terms of even scalability, if you are the business owner employing the traders, I don't see it being highly scalable. Let's just combine both of them together and average it out to about a D. Because at the end of the day, trade services are not going anywhere and they're always going to be needed. So let's put it in D. Now, let's get to the juicy part and reveal these 3 bonuses that I know will do absolutely amazing in Oman. And this is the sort of stuff that I'm covering. So like I said, join the waitlist. These are the sort of informations I'm giving. Real data, real stuff like this, life-changing stuff. So the first business model we're gonna reveal is the Uber Eats model. Right now in Oman, there is no way you can be on your phone, order food, and they deliver it to your house. You have to physically go there, like the good old days, and order it yourself. So there's no such thing as like home delivery food services right now in Oman. And that is a massive gap and a massive, massive opportunity. We all know Uber Eats is a billion-dollar company. Deliveroo, Just Eat, all these home delivery food services, massive, massive opportunities. If you've got the time, the resources, the patience, and the skills to implement this, wallahi, you're just remember me when you're up there. Yeah, I would like a nice villa. Thank you very much. Uber Eats, S tier. And the next one we're going to reveal, and it's going to be a bit mind-boggling for you to comprehend this. There's a portion of houses in Oman that don't have home addresses. Yeah, you heard me right. They don't have home addresses. So when you try to order something online from Amazon or eBay or stuff like this, if you don't have a home address, you have to have a PO box in like a store or somewhere where you send it to. Not saying all the houses in Oman, I'm saying there is a big portion though. How to monetize this? But I'm sure if you can set up something with the government where you solve this problem for them, they're probably willing to pay you millions. So a gap in the market that no one's seeming to fix. If you can fix this market, it's a massive, massive project. Because not only that, they're always building new properties. So you can take on these new properties, new developments, and implement the same structure to allocate addresses to these 2 and put them on the system. So if that's something that is interesting to you, an amazing business idea. And the last one we're going to reveal is actually something I struggle with personally. And I know thousands of people still struggling with this. And it's an online payment processing service, something like PayPal. But of course, for those of you that don't know, PayPal is horrible. If you use it, stop. So the next best thing that we have is Stripe. And unfortunately, Stripe doesn't allow Omani businesses to take payments. So me, if I have an Omani business, I can't have my Stripe set up and for the payment to be processed to my business here in Oman. You have UAE, you have all these countries, you don't have Oman. So Oman right now doesn't have an online processing payment system. So if you can create one, and take a transaction fee of every transaction that comes into an Omani business online, brother, gone clear, S tier. If you're seriously considering moving to Oman, make sure you check out the description below and join that waitlist. Now, before you get too deep into planning your move, there's one thing you need to be crystal clear on. Relying on a work visa to move to Oman is one of the riskiest routes you can ever take. So watch this video next, where I break down exactly why building your own income stream is not just smarter, but it's the only way to move with real confidence.